we were looking after this material master. In that we are particularly to material type. So how material type will control the screens, or that is views and fields. How depending upon the material type views will change. We'll see one by one. So now material type controls many other factors also, but as of now we are discussing about how it will control screen, that is views, and how these views and some of the fields vary depending upon the material type. So now I am considering industry sector mechanical engineering. First we'll consider raw material, ROH. See, here you can see these basic data views are common. Purchasing view is there, MRP view is there, general plant data is there, accounting and costing it is there. These things are not relevant to MM, so we'll not bother about this thing. So when we have basic data stores the information that is in generic in nature. It will be applicable, it is same across the client, that is it will, these values are stored at client level. And purchasing value, so obviously raw material we will purchase from external vendor, so purchasing view is there. So for planning that purchasing, we have MRP view, and for storing that material, whenever we purchase we store in a storage location. For that we have plant storage and plant data, and obviously we need to do accounting for that. Accounting and costing, these are common. So we have already created on material. See, this basic data, this general data is same, that is base unit of measure, material group, these things are common, that is weight details or weight size or packing details, basic text, all those things are common. Environment, what is the environment relativity, packaging code, if there any drawing is there for this material, that document number, page number. So all these things will be general things, so it will be common. So whenever we come to purchasing view, so here you can see base unit of measure. So here you can see fields are common. Purchasing group, this valuation, purchasing value key, so these fields are common. So I want to just focus more on this view actually. So whatever the important and what all these things fields means, since it is related to MM, so we should know each and every field what it means. So here we know base unit of measure, this is base unit of measure, and order unit. So base unit of measure is different, so order unit is different. So unit of measure might be different for ordering. Suppose when we need we will measure length of a, suppose structural element, suppose you consider angle or tube, so we will measure in meters, but while ordering we will not mention, sometimes we will purchase on the basis of weight. For 1 ton of square pipe we'll order like that. So in that case the base unit of measure and order unit will differ. And this material group we already defined in previous case. So plant specific material status, so here you can see plant specific material status. It means for this particular plant, so for which plant we are creating material master, what is the status of this material. So here you can see block code for procurement, block code for task list. Suppose block code for procurement means it is block code for from external vendor, procuring from external vendor. So block code for task list of BM means it is block code for production. So in for approval, these things are this plant specific material status. So this for this, the same material might be using in another plant, but for particularly this plant, this is the status. So in another plant, the status might be different. So this it will indicate. Batch management I have showed, tax indicator for material. So this is not for our concern actually. Freight group also, it's a different thing. Freight means different. It is not our concern. Batch management, as I told, purchasing value key, it will define first reminder when we will send the first reminder to vendor, second reminder, third reminder. Delivery date, variable date, how many days it may vary. Shipping instruction, under delivery, what is the under delivery tolerance, over delivery tolerance, minimum delivery quantity in percentage. These are the main fields in purchasing value key. And other data, manufacturing, GR processing time, post to inspection stock, source list. We have already discussed about this thing in while discussing about material master. So just in time indicator, this will come in planning related data. So manufacturing part number also. So for vendor material number, in fact. So our material number is this one. Vendor internally might be using some other material number for that identifying that material, identifying this same material. So this is the main thing. Next, I am not going to discuss about these fields in details. Next we will go to next thing. So MRP same. In MRP also you can see general data, unit of measure data, MRP group, values not minimum entries. So these things will come under PP, purchase group. ABC indicator will come. So this ABC indicator, what is the significance of these indicators will mainly fall under PP. So this material will be categorized depending upon the significance, whether they are very critical material or medium significance or low significance. So this indicator indicates that one. So in MRP type, suppose we use some, instead of no planning, if we use MRP PD, reorder point, this is the reorder point means we have some stock in our storage location. We will order whenever the stock level falls some specified level, we will order that material. Suppose we have 10,000 units under our storage location. If whenever the storage location stock falls below 1000, we will order. Up to that time we are not going to order that material. So this reorder point indicates that quantity. Planning time fence, MRP controller means, so who is controlling, who is the responsible person for this MRP, running MRP. So planning reference time, plan cycle time, planning cycle. So these are mainly related to PP. So when we go to MRP related activities, MRP, when we will be discussing MRP, at that time we will look into each fields in detail. But as of now I am going to discuss only what are the main important things. Lot size. Suppose whenever the reorder stock falls below reorder point, what is the order lot size? Suppose whenever you are going to order from particular vendor, so the standard quantity will be this much. So at that time, lot size, minimum lot size, maximum lot size, fixed lot size, ordering cost, what is the ordering cost, assembly scrap, rounding profile, these are things related to PP. So they will collect and fill this data. So MRP2, so MRP controller, it is already defined. Plant, so that is why planning details, we need to do some backend configuration. So for that I am not, as of now, not using this planning details. So you need to come again actually, so it will not allow you to continue further. So I am creating same thing again. Basic, sorry, and no planning, I'll take it as no planning. So in MRP2, you see this procurement type indicates, already I have discussed it. Special procurement, just in time delivery schedule, JIT, automatically or no JIT. Oh, these things, GR processing time, how many days it will take to process GR. Scheduling margin key is there. So this thing you need to configure. We'll discuss this in next whenever we go to configuration. Planned delivery time, what is the planned delivery time? So 1 day. Planning calendar, based on which calendar you are using, where you are planning. So it will consider which are the holidays, which are the Sunday. Depending upon that calendar, it will calculate next delivery date and all those things. So net requirement calculation, here you can see safety stock, what is the safety stock, minimum safety stock, safety time indicator. These are the things mainly related to PP, so we are not bothering about much this thing. Yeah, so here also plant data will be, these things will be same. So in accounting view, major the material view controls this thing, valuation class. So for each valuation class differs. So for material ROH, there is a different valuation class, and price controls also, it will depend upon valuation class. This will depend mainly on material type. Mainly for ROH and all those things, moving average prices will be used, as I discussed in earlier video. In standard price will be for finished product. So this valuation class, for each material type, this valuation class will differ. And accounting view, costing, the remaining things are same. So I am not saving this material. See, these are the views and fields were there in ROH. So I will now take semi-finished, that is HALB semi-finished product. You can see semi-finished product sales views also automatically, the sales views activated. Previously sales views were not there for raw material, and this MRS was also not there. So quality management, warehouse management, these were not there actually. work scheduling, forecasting. These are the extra views which were not there in ROH material type. So why you can by the name of material type you can decide why it is not allowing sales before raw material. So the raw material indicates it is a raw material we are procuring from our vendor, so we are not selling the raw material. So in that type it works. So this semi-finished material we might be selling semi-finished. Suppose we are supplying semi-finished material to some other customer. In that case, we might be selling our semi-finished goods also. For that, it is allowing sales organization, sales data also. So I'll execute this thing. I'll show sales data. Sales views were not there actually. See now sales related data. Sales organization is the sales organization, distribution channel. These are the components of SD. So by the end of the course, I mean to say, once we complete all the master data setting and some of the transaction, the sales related field is will deal with sales in only one in STO scenario, that is stock transport order. In that case we will go for we'll work with SD. So in that case we will discuss how in that case we will in that scenario we will define, we will configure the sales organization, distribution channel, and this all the datas. So for now I can show some. Already I have configured some, I have done some STO scenario in so just I will show you one STO material, so then you will get some idea about this thing. 9860 is a plan. So I have some material here, inter STO material. I have saved this thing, you can see store location, distribution channel 9860, material group, sales organization 2. See availability check, base unit of measure, this transportation group on pallet, loading group on crane. This data mainly related to sales and distribution. Whenever we are sending our material out of our company or we are selling to other, in that case we will work with the sales views. So for semi-finished material, sales views are there. So you can see I already maintained this data and use this material in some STO process. So this master data, whatever the data is there, this will be filled by STV people. So we are not bothered much. So just will be we should have some knowledge in the sense what are the mandatory fields to execute our scenarios. We should have some knowledge on that. So here you can see sales details. This is the difference between ROH and semi-finished. Now one more thing I will show you. Euro N. So HALB we have done. So in HALB only basic data 1 to sales purchasing. So I'll show one more thing. I'm not going to save this thing unnecessarily. Sales organization, loading group. This mandatory fields you need to maintain always. So this purchasing related data is almost same. So here when MRP group, MRP type, ND will select. So I wanted to show this thing, procurement type. See, procurement type is X. Both procurement types are allowed. Both the types of procurement allowed. That is internal and external. Both procurements are allowed. So for semi-finished, you can understand this thing. Semi-finished material we can procure from vendor also, or we can produce in-house also. So in some of the cases, we will be procuring semi-finished material from vendors, and they will assemble that and make it a finished product, and we will sell. So in that case, so for this material you can see procurement type X is there. That is both the procurement allowed. In previous case, what was the case? I'll show that one also. I'll open parallelly here. So in mm01 I will open again. Suppose here I will select raw material ROH. See here, procurement type F. Only external procurement allowed. So for raw material only external procurement was allowed, is allowed, and for this semi-finished material type, procurement type, both the procurement types are allowed. So this is one more thing. This is the major difference. Now I will go to MRP to see. One more difference will come. That will be in accounting view. See, for accounting view, valuation class will change. See here, semi-finished products, we have valuation class 7900. So in case of raw material, we had 3000 as a valuation class as 3000. Valuation classes were 3000. See, this is one major related. It will control this thing also, valuation class. Depending upon valuation class and material type also, this price control. For raw material, it's moving average price. In case of finished product or semi-finished product also it will be having almost moving average price only. So you have seen these two differences majorly. Now how again I will take finished material /n mm01 FERT I will consider FERT finished product. See, for this also sales views are there, forecasting is there, quality management, costing, MRP, MRS. So finished product, obviously we will sell it to customers. So sales user fix mandatory. Sales organization data 1, sales organization data 2, sales general plant, see availability check, transportation group, loading group, purchase group is a mandatory. MRP type, we are not using any planning details here. For this also, both the procurement types are allowed. Finished goods. So in accounting view, you can see valuation class will vary. 7920 finished product. See, automatically when we choose this thing, it was showing same standard price. Accounting view 1 2, costing 1 2, compliance MRS. So this is the major difference. Again, if I look into other material types, I will show one more material type, pipeline material I will show. See, for pipeline material, so see only these many views are available. There is no sales, there is no storage location data, there is no plant and storage location data. See, there is, right? Depending upon the material type also, these views will be changing. Only plant is required. There is no pipeline material. We cannot store pipeline material. We will directly consume. Depending upon the consumption, we will bill the vendor. So what is the example for material types and all those things I will give it once we will discuss particularly in that type of material procurement. Suppose when we will be discussing about pipeline material procurement, in that case we will discuss about all those things. So valuation class again it will be different. Oh, it is a one more thing it is came. It is considered under raw material only. So price control, we enter a moving average price, then accounting. See, in that case, in accounting one view, we didn't enter any valuation class. Then also it is allowing us to proceed. So what it means, it is not mandatory field for this pipeline materials. In other cases, without valuation class, we cannot move further actually. So this is the material type. How the screens will vary in material type. Depending upon the material type also, we can make the which are the fields we want as mandatory. We can make it mandatory. In this view, we have base unit of measure and material group as mandatory, and short description as mandatory. If you don't want these things as mandatory, if you want it, make it as optional, like remaining these things, gross weight, net weight. How these fields are optional. If you enter also okay. If you leave it also, no, not a problem. So if it is mandatory fields, you should always enter the values. Without that, you cannot proceed. So that also we can consider by depending upon the material type. What are the material type? Suppose in ROH material, and for ROH material, I don't want this field as mandatory. But for other material type, we want I want this base unit of measure as mandatory. That things we can control depending upon the material type. So yeah, this is the main thing. Just I wanted to show how it will affect depending upon material type, how screens will vary. So now we have seen how the material type screens will vary. Screens in the sense views and fields will vary depending upon the material type. We have material type controls many factors like material number /n mm01. If I go here, so material type, this material number, it is automatically assigning internal number range for this material while creating. So this will dependent on this material type. Material type will control this whether it is a external number range or internal number range allowed, and what is the range for material. Suppose for raw material the number range will be 1 to 10,000, like that. We can control this material type by number range by this material type. Number range we can control the type of procurement, that is depending on the material type, external procurement allowed, only internal procurement allowed, or both the procurement allowed. So this one we can control by material type. And also depending upon the valuation class also will control by material type, and which are the fields allowed, on the other sense which are the views allowed. This also we can configure. So you can, if you want to include some more views, you need to do configuration in backend, so that you can include all that view. So these things you will see next in when we go to material type configuration. Then we will see what are the things material type will control. Actually material type have some 6 controls that we will discuss in next further videos. So yeah, as of for now it is enough. So next I will go to configuration directly. What are the configurations we need to do related to material master, entire material master. We will configure material types, we will configure our own material type, like ROH is there, no? We can configure our own material type. We can configure our own industry sector, we can assign our own number ranges, or we can configure our own whatever the configurations allowed for material master backend configurations. Whatever the configurations are there, we will cover in next video. So till then, thank you.